Opened in 1960 by Bruton Smith and NASCAR driving legend Curtis Turner, Charlotte Motor Speedway was born with ambition, launching stock car racing into uncharted territory with the longest NASCAR race ever run, the World 600. But that dream nearly collapsed before it ever took off. Just 1 year later, the 1.5-mile oval was bankrupt, stalled by an unforgiving granite outcrop in the infield that sent construction costs soaring. Fast forward 65 years, and this isn't just a racetrack. This is the epicenter of stock car racing. More than 94,000 seats surround a facility that has rewritten NASCAR history time and time again. Charlotte lit up the night first. It redefined the fan experience with trackside condos, office towers, naming rights, and a year-round club atmosphere. It's the home track for most race teams, where setups are perfected, rivalries are born, and championships are built long before they're won. And tonight, in the heart of stock car racing, where speed meets pressure and mistakes are punished at 190 miles per hour, the stakes rise once again. Engines roar, the field tightens, and every lap matters. This is the ZeroX Strategy Series North Carolina 125, and it starts now on Track Limits Network. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway ZeroX Strategy Series extended tape delay coverage from last Tuesday evening. We tried to get this one underway Wednesday morning before I headed out of town down to Watkins Glen International. Wasn't able to do it due to the iRacing update, so here we are, the Monday that I've come back from the Glen. We're going to roll this one here tonight. Want to make note, this one sponsored in part by, I guess you could say, Dr. Ann Sudell Thorn. It's more in honor of Dr. Ann Sudell Thorn. Michael Thorn, of course, jumping on board to help us out with a couple of races this season, and simple as that. That's what we've got set for you. So keep her in your mind, I guess. Not in your thoughts. She's still around, according to Michael, but that's where we're at. Race details tonight. 125 laps, 65% fuel on board, 2 sets of tires over the wall, no fast repairs, 1 attempt at a green-white checkered finish. Weather-wise, we're 71 degrees, 52% humidity, partly cloudy skies, a 10-mile-per-hour breeze, track temp matching the air temp at 71. Place will be gripped up here tonight. Practice in the books, qualifying underway, a couple of minutes left in this session. Let's go down and see who are the fast times thus far. Jason Blaney, top of the board, 29.482. Chris Pieria is actually out on the track right now. Let's watch his lap. Chris will cross the stripe here, lock in. Did he improve? Lap 2 not counted for, so 29.891 for Chris Pieria. He'll start 20th. Chris Cornett, winner of our first race this season, goes 9th. 29.63. Matt Sisler on the Speedway. Trying to beat a 29.482. Sisler on the clock. Lap 1 not registering? No, it did. 29.587. A quick time there for Matt Sisler. He'll sit in the 6th position. Sisler across the line here. 29.588. Puts Matt P6 still. That should do it for just about everybody, as we're going to bring Colt Ansley up into the broadcast booth. We weren't sure if we were going to have Colt, but here he is. Colt, thanks for stepping up and helping us out here in this delayed broadcast. What's going on, man?
Wanted to get caught back up, but what did I miss?
Just a little bit of qualifying. We're into our grid procedures here, so let's not waste any more time. Without further ado, it's time. Our starting grid for the North Carolina 125 on the pole position with a lap time of 29.482 seconds. It's the number 22 from Fueled Up Motorsports, Jason Blaney. Outside pole, the number 16 of Briley Hassard missed it by 18 thousandths of a second. In the second row, it'll be Ken Lowry and Juan Linares. Row number 3, it's Austin Walton and Matt Sisler. Row 4 belongs to Derek Buckaloo and Kerwin Marshall. Row 5, Brandon Moore and Chris Cornett. Trevor Queensberry will roll off in the 11th spot. Ben Smith will be 12th. 13th starter, it's Nathan Ostrowski. 14th belongs to Wesley Jeanette. 15th, Raymond Hanneman. Watch out for the 12th tonight. Jason Aranchak will be 16th. 17th starter, it's Nick Gardner with Tommy Pulte to his right elbow in the 18th spot. Johnny DePasquale will start 19th. 20th belongs to Brenton Watts. 21st starter, it's the 8 of Michael Prachek. Chris Pieria will roll off 22nd. Scott Stockel, 23rd. Steve Tapley, Sr., 24th. John Kelly, 25th. Blake Hochschild will be 26th. Jackson West, 27th. 28th belongs to Nathan Line. 29th, Jim Treat. Jared Smith, 30th. 31st, Caden Fontenot. 32nd, Michael Thorn. Tony Smith will start 33rd with Cody Austin 34th. And in the final row, 35th and 36th, it'll be Darren Jones and Scott C. Ford Jr. Your starting grid here for the North Carolina 125. Field sitting on the grid, getting ready to roll off here. Still waiting for a couple of drivers to make it to their grid positions. Couple of stream chats already. Tom Janikowski, as usual, wave and checkered flag. Kerwin Marshall in there also. Marshall going to roll off in the 8th spot. Well, before they get rolling here, Colt, I have not looked at the results. I'll trust that you haven't either. Who's your pick tonight?
I have not looked at the results. I have their Discord muted so I don't get it spoiled for me. Gonna be tough, man. I think I'm gonna give it to Jason Blaney tonight. Starting on the pole, I think he's gonna be in a good spot.
Jason Blaney, the pick for Colt Ansley. Pole sitter, going out on a limb there, Colt. I'm going to go with the teammate of Jason Blaney, the 12 of Raymond Hanneman, who rolls off a little deeper in the field than what we're used to seeing. He'll start 16th.
I'm just taking a play from your book, Steve.
Fair enough. Race details, in case you got here a little bit late. 125 laps the distance, a 65% load of fuel on board. 2 tire sets over the wall, no fast repairs, no safety net, and 1 attempt at a green-white checkered finish. Field in 3 and 4 will see the green flag when they exit the corner into the dogleg. Blaney and Hassard side by side into turn number 1. Blaney with the advantage. Hassard not rolling very well on the outside. Hassard inches off the wall on corner exit. Now he's got Ken Lowry to the bottom of the racetrack, pressuring for that second spot.
So we've got a couple of connection issues right off the bat here. Jason Blaney shooting away, trying to build as much of a gap as he can early on. Get out in that clean air, get the air on the nose of that car, and you'll be setting sail.
Blaney leads lap number 1 here in Charlotte. Quick lap 2, 36.01, about a half second quicker than just about everybody else in the field. Oh, trouble off turn number 4. The 6 of Trevor Queensberry around.
A mad scramble for everyone to avoid that one.
I believe Kerwin Marshall may have been part of that as well, but the raw end of the deal was the 6 at the end of the day. Marshall able to drive away. Queensbury, I believe, towed back to pit lane, that is. And we are seeing some significant connection issues even in this one still. Hopefully that clears itself. And once again, we're having some pretty heavy details skewed for us here right now. You're seeing in the timing tower, it says we're under our third caution. We're only on lap 3, or about to start lap 3. Got a couple of replay files in the last week or so that have acted this way. For the most part, though, they've been okay. My only guesstimate is it has something to do with the source replay, maybe the network connection of where the source replay came from. Maybe not the strongest. This is all assumptions at this point. But I have one individual in particular that I've yet to have a problem getting a replay from cleanly. So that's kind of where I'm going with it. It could be. Colt, you got any experience with that?
Not on the replay files themselves, but I have had issues in the past where it was hardware issues on my end, particularly under caution. You got all these cars trying to group back up. The graphics can get all kind of screwed up just because it's trying to load so many cars in all at once, especially if you have your LOD distance at a certain amount, LOD cars at a certain amount. And so could be an issue with that, the sim trying to load more cars in than it's capable of. But as far as network connections, I haven't seen that where that many cars dropped out. But yeah, I have seen hardware issues do that.
It's not particularly an issue that I see happening on the live races that we cover here at Track Limits.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll power through it, even if it continues. Just let's focus on, I'll try to keep everybody abreast as to how many cautions we actually have. We've only had one. Getting set for our first restart of the evening here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It'll be Jason Blaney and Ken Lowry now in the front row. Lowry picking up a spot in the opening laps. Juan Linares up a position to third, but meanwhile the outside pole sitter Briley Hassard has fallen back 2 to fourth. I believe it was Jackson West, the driver that I gotten a couple of replays from that had been spot on. Got one for Chris Golden coming up here with the Golden Racing League that we're going to try and cover a handful of races as a last-minute deal. They knew that we weren't going to be able to cover them live, but they said, I got to do something. My normal broadcaster had a conflict, back out, and he said the same thing before I've even run it. He says the replay is terrible. So hopefully it's going to be okay. I'll take a look at it myself. We'll go from there.
Staying busy.
Doing the best we can. Happens, of course, the worst week of the year for me to try and be busy, but we'll take it. Field lined up for the restart here. Pace car about to duck down pit road. Green back in the air. Blaney gets away. Real good jump for the 22. It leaves Hassard and Lowry in the dust. Hassard, though, jumps from fourth up to the second spot in the middle of turns 1 and 2 with Ken Lowry to the top side of the racetrack. Slides up in front of the 35.
Hassard and Lowry were asleep at the wheel. Blaney just was shot out of a cannon, and they were left in the dust trying to figure out what to do with where the 22 go.
And running back down, though, it's got it within a car length and a half, maybe 3 at this point as they exit the dog leg. Hassard and Lowry still battling for position side by side, but they were able to run him down even during that argument. 48, Juan Linares still in the force. The top 4 run as they started, but a big run off turn number 2. Hassard really right there to the outside of Blaney. Blaney took evasive action, thought there was going to be contact, would be my guess, but they get away clean. Hassard unable to take the lead away from the 22. Blaney leads them back to the stripe.
Boy, if Hassard was asleep at the wheel, Blaney was asleep that whole turn 1 and 2 complex. He was really slow entering 1 and did not get a good exit, allowed Hassard in the 16 to get a great run off. I thought he was going to be door-to-door into 3, but the 22 was able to make a good recovery. I mean, Steve, looking at it, it looked like he was just trying to save his tires, kind of relax the car a little bit, not stress it out, and then all of a sudden he had that 16 car to his outside, and I don't think he ever really knew he was there until he was there.
Bottom end of the top 10 here, Derek Buckaloo in the number 81. Buckaloo with the hot sauce daddy colors on board. What a good-looking paint scheme. I keep forgetting to jump online and see if I can get my hands on some of that. It'd be good on some pulled pork, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, Raymond Hanneman up 9 positions, already into the 6th spot, knocking on the door of the top 5 with Matt Sisler just ahead.
Yeah, that 12 car looks really strong, marching his way to the front the way he is. Giving a look to the 31 of Matt Sisler. Just let him know he's there.
Everybody getting singled out here. 10 laps in at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Oh, 12 rolling the top there.
Just barely scrapes the wall on exit, but makes the pass work. Gets clear of Sisler, so move Hanneman into the top 5 very quickly, just after a 10 laps complete at Charlotte.
And Steve, both Raymond Hanneman and Matt Sisler took that turn 1 and 2 where the 12 just flew by the 31 on the outside. Both of them just logged that information for later on. Maybe as the tires start to wear out and everybody starts moving up the track, that top line might be the better passing lane than the bottom, is what we're seeing early on, as we saw with the 16 and the 22. 16 tried to pass around the outside, but the 22 still had the grip on the bottom, and it was kind of the other way around with the 12 and the 31. Is now the 74 of, I'm going to get the name right.
Wesley Jeanette.
Wesley Jeanette, yeah. Almost looked like he was trying to roll the top, crossed over, and now he's underneath the 31.
JWD26 in the chat says, Jackson's got that Best Buy mobile Wi-Fi. Well, maybe I want some, because so far so good for all the replays he sent. I thought Dustin had designated him as the replay guy, quote unquote, but I guess it was just coincidental.
Hey, what's the saying? It's almost stupid if it doesn't work.
Exactly. Blaney continues to lead over Briley Hassard, Ken Lowry, Juan Linares, and Ray Hanneman in the top 5. This the battle for 6th. Matt Sisler and Wesley Jeanette still side by side for the last couple of laps. Jeanette gets clear, so move the 74 into the top 6. Wesley's been on a tear here from the drop of the green flag as well. He's moved up 8 positions. Further down the line, another Fueled Up Motorsports up 9. That's Johnny DePasquale. Blake Hochschild up 14 positions to 12.
I think, Steve, that just goes to show how important track position is. If you get buried back in the pack later on in a run, you just can't go anywhere. And even these guys having restricted tire sets, they're going to try to get up there, get to the front, and get that track position for later on in the race, try to improve their strategy, as this is the ZeroX strategy series. And they're going to want to be in a position where their tires are actually going to matter. Because if you're buried back in the back, it's not gonna help you, even if you do take tires at a optimum time.
Jason Blaney still comfortable with a slight margin over Briley Hassard. It was half a second not long ago. It was down as low as just over 3/10. Last corner off turn number 4. Hassard trying to find a rhythm here to run down the 22. Last lap, though, was almost a 10th quicker than Blaney. Looking at their times here, Steve, it appears that
Hazard is almost even with Blaney in 3 and 4, but where Blaney is getting his speed is 1 and 2. He's about a half a tenth quicker in 1 and 2 than the 16 of Hazard.
Hazard running the high line there on the exit of 1 and 2. Is one driver out of line here. I think that's the 27 of Nick Gardner. Indeed, it is. Sisler now into the 7th position, just ahead of that Napa number 27. Ben Smith in the rears behind him. Ben Smith with some new colors this week. ZeroX Sim Racing on board, and wow, that looks just like the car we just saw at the Glen yesterday with Denny Hamlin at the controls, but tonight it's Ben Smith. No insurance sponsorship on that. ZeroX Sim Racing on board.
It's kind of an insurance if you think about it, ZeroX, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I had a double take on that one. Maybe a little bit of a triple take, trying to figure out if that said X or P or for Progressive, but that's a good looking paint scheme. I like the, that's how you do NASCAR, that's how you do throwbacks with your own sponsors.
Ben Smith's been pretty good with those paint schemes this season, making them look just like the real thing, but with his own touch added to them. They're pretty sharp each and every week. Even though I'm not a big Denny fan, it's still pretty cool to see. Meanwhile, Blaney still leads this race, but Hanneman is the one to watch as he's continuing to work his way forward. Now finds himself into 4th. Wesley Jeanette running in the tire tracks of the 12. He's up now into the 5th position. Lowry to the bottom there on Hazard, trying to take the 2nd spot out of 2.
Hazard, I believe, is starting to get a little bit tight down there on the bottom. We saw him working the top a little bit earlier, getting right up against the wall.
Oh,
just not enough grip
job
down on the bottom.
Lowry didn't have a lot of room to spare, but he was clear enough to make it work, so moved to 35 to P2.
As we call that in the business, that is called clearing yourself. Blaney's going to have his first look at dirty air here in the next couple of laps as they're coming up on a lap car. I believe that is Tommy Pulte damaged in that first incident. It's going to be the first time yeah, that whole left front's caved in. Real smart getting down out of the way, letting the leaders go.
I think he's got more problems than that. I think he might have a bent toe link because that thing's dog tracking pretty bad now into turn number 3. I don't know if something just broke on that ahead of the leaders or if that's all from the previous incident.
Yeah, because he was slow, but he was, you know, up to minimum speed. And he just slammed on the brakes, let everybody go, which really smart decision on his part. He doesn't want to affect anybody else's race.
Yeah, Cole, it looks like that right front's towed out pretty bad. He's trying to hang on to it, maybe catch a caution and get some repairs made. Pulte continues to go down here. He's in the 30th position, well off the pace. Got Dustin in the chat, says, late, I'm late. Hope you had a good time at the Glen, Steve. Well, thank you for that. We had the best time that we could. Certainly plenty of libations were consumed, just given that's about all we could do with 6 to 8 inches or more of mud on the entire campground. It was brutal out there this week, but luckily they're moving the race back to late summer, early fall, September race in 2027, so hopefully the grounds get dried at least by then.
Yeah, I appreciate what they were doing with the trying to have the nicer weather, but yeah, there's something about the Glen in late summer that's much better than the Glen in late spring.
Well, up here in Watkins Glen, May 10th is not late spring. We woke up Saturday morning to snow, so it's definitely not spring in this part of the world.
I forgot I live in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, it's pretty much always warm there.
And Kenneth Lowry smacked the wall pretty hard about 2 laps ago coming out of 4. Doesn't appear to hurt him all that much, but maybe some grip going away on the right front tire of that car.
Honestly, last lap he was over a tenth quicker than leader Jason Blaney, so he's found something.
Maybe he needs to smack it a little harder.
Or not. Still within 4/10 of the race leader, Blaney. I just got to wonder, Colt, is Blaney out there just kind of controlling the pace of this field right now, running the laps he needs to just to maintain his track position in the lead? I feel like he could fire off a little harder than he is right now.
Oh yeah, Steve, absolutely. He is sandbagging just a little bit. Because again, he's got the clean air. He can aero block if he really wants to. He's just easing it into the corner, easing it out of the corner, keeping as much brake heat and tire heat out of that car as he can to try to preserve the life of those tires. You know, as I mentioned earlier, clean air is such a big thing with this car that even the lap cars that he was coming up on, I had mentioned that could be a little bit of an issue for him because he hasn't seen any dirty air for the night. So yeah, he's just, you know, staying just far enough ahead of Kenneth Lowry to be a hindrance in the corners, dump some air where the 35 doesn't want it, take it away where the 35 needs it, and just kind of controlling the pace right now.
Blaney with some, what I believe are new colors on board this week. They kind of match the Fueled Up Motorsports schemes, but it says "We Build Jacks." I believe Wesley Jeanette with similar scheme on board his machine. So one thing I've noticed about these Fueled Up guys is they are very proactive about finding legitimate sponsorship to compete in these leagues.
Race cars for sure, and they've got that Penske font with almost kind of a mixture of the Auto Trader and AAA cars that we see Joey Logano and Austin Cindric running.
Fueled Up Motorsports 1 through 5 right now, and 3 of those 5 started deep in the field. Hanneman looks like the 15th position. Wesley Jeanette was 14th. Johnny DePasquale was 19th. It has not taken long for them to work their way up into the front runners of the North Carolina 125. Hassard in the meantime falling back.
Yeah, Hassard is struggling. Like I mentioned, it looked like he was already getting too tight early on in the run. Probably burned his tires off way too early and already moved up to the high line. He is struggling just to hang on to it.
Chris Cornett now starting to make some moves towards the front of the field. Way up the racetrack, just about 3 feet maybe off the safer barrier. Pulls it down a little bit on exit. Washes back out ahead of Ben Smith, then clear of now Hassard. So with Chris Cornett into the 8th spot as he continues to march forward.
That was a pretty slick move there, Steve. I'm not gonna lie. He kind of used the 16 as a pick to the 11, even though he was also passing the 16 for position. The 11 of Ben Smith was trying to run that bottom lane, thinking the 16 was going to be a little quicker, and 88 rolled the top and kind of just pinned the 11 down there. And look at the gap he's gained just from doing that.
Next on the hit list for Chris Cornett, it's going to be Juan Linares. Way up the track again, Cole. He might have touched it there a little bit in the middle of 3 and 4.
Just a kiss. He's shaving the paint off to make the car lighter. Juan Linares with a pretty good start to the night too. Really quiet, haven't really talked much about him, but he's kind of just gently fallen back a little bit, let these guys that have been hard charging all night past him, but just taking it easy on the car and trying to save a little bit of pace towards the end of the run here.
$35 laps in the books here at Charlotte. Cornett and Linares battling for now the 7th position as they run down the 27 of Nick Gardner. Cornett with a big run. Oh, in contact. Around goes Linares.
But nobody hits him.
We lost the shot right at the exit of turn number 2 with the drone. Caught it just in time to see Linares go around. I don't know if Juan was coming up or if Cornett just had that much of a run and surprised the 48. Either way, they make contact. The right rear pushed inward to send the 48's right front into the fence. Long slide down the backstretch. Linares has some damage. I don't think it's horrible. Oh, the right front does not look happy.
Yeah, that is a bent toe link on the right front for sure. Couple of minutes of damage, it looks like. But man, that could have been so much worse. That whole slide, I was holding my breath. Just like, don't hit him, don't hit him, don't hit him. Just before that shot cut away, it appeared to me like the 88 had a good run, and the 48 just kind of aero blocked him ever so slightly, and so the 88 tried to come down and cross him over. And I don't know if the 48 got loose on exit or what had happened that allowed the 88 to get to his outside.
Pit stop's about to get underway. Blaney, Hanneman, Jeanette, Deep Pasquale, everybody going to roll down pit lane with maybe one exception.
And boy, for these hard chargers like Deep Pasquale, Hanneman, Wesley Jeanette, the guys that were really flying through the field, that was a godsend for them. Come in, get a fresh set of tires. They've got the track position that they were looking for. As well as the 16 of Hassard. He was struggling there at the end of that run.
Hanneman's going to win the race off pit road with what looks like a 2-tire change. Chris Cornett, very quick stop, maybe fuel only. He'll come back out in the second position. Jeanette, 2 tires. Johnny D looks like 2. Ken Lowry, it could have been 4 if those guys are lightning fast at 13.08 seconds. And further down the line, Nick Gardner looks like 4. Same with Ben Smith, Matt Sisler, Riley Hassard, Derek Buckaloo. Hassard taking 4 tires. It's not quite a surprise to me, Colt. I think he pushed a little too hard, got a little more out of those tires than he had planned down in that first run.
And if you're going to do something like that, that first run is the time to do it because you're less likely to get pinned a lap down. And if you do, you've got a chance to come back later on and work your way back through the pack. So that first run is really a good time for you to push the car, get a feel for the tires, and see how you're going to play out as the night goes on, as it gets darker, as it gets cooler. Man, what I would like to know, though, Steve, is what happened to Jason Blaney? Last car on the, it looks like the tail end of the cars coming out of the pits with a 55-second pit stop.
Looking at that, I'm going to say he put 4 tires and fuel in the race car and then was asked to sit and wait for an additional 40 for infraction of one form or another.
Whoops.
This will be fun to watch the 22 try and knife his way back through as long as he can stay out of the chaos. Now, if anybody knows Jason Blaney, he is going to be very aggressive on this next run to try and get back to where he believes he belongs. Can he put it on the pole here tonight? Clearly
it's one thing to
car.
avoid chaos, but it's another thing to not be said chaos, and that's what Jason's going to have to remember as he's working his way back through the field.
So front row is going to be Raymond Hanneman and Chris Cornett.
You think those two weren't excited to hear the 22 get a penalty?
I don't know if Hanneman was excited, but I'm sure he's happy he does not have to deal with trying to pass the 22. These guys are real big on team wins. Pace car is in. Hanneman with the advantage off turn 2 over Wesley Jeanette. Lowry, Cornett, now Brandon Moore. Cornett, not a great restart. And likely a fuel-only stop for the 88.
Already back in that top line. Steve, you mentioned the teamwork that these Fueled Up Motorsports guys typically use. I don't know if they do this or not, but I know in the past when I've worked with bigger teams or when I've worked around teammates on restarts, we would often count down our restarts if we get to fire whenever we want. You think that was a kind of coordinated restart between Hanneman, Jeanette, and maybe Brandon Moore, or just these guys trying to time their restart to let the 12 up and the 74 get clear, or you think they just fired and let the chips fall?
I mean, I think there's some method to that madness. I think when it suits them, they're going to necessarily say, all right, I'm going to fire on 3. 1, 2, 3, they fire off, they get the advantage. It helps the guy that's leading, that might be a Fueled Up Motorsports driver, and it may set those guys up to have some teammates in the rearview mirror, kind of add some comfort in knowing that they're going to be raced clean no matter what the circumstances are. But when it comes down to the last couple of laps on a late restart, I don't necessarily know that they're going to count it down. It's all conjecture. We don't know for certain how they operate. That's kind of the thrill of it, I guess you could say. But it's definitely an advantage when you're able to talk to each other. I know NASCAR-wise, that all kind of went away in the years of the tandem draft and the super speedways. Other drivers could talk to other drivers out on the racetrack. That is no longer a thing. You got to do it all through spotters. But we still do it here in the Discord.
Yeah, they still have the wave for the Cup Series, and spotters talk to each other a lot. I know as well. We've got a battle for the lead. I'm just going to ignore my boring comments. Look at the 27 car.
Hold that thought. Hanneman able to hold off Gardner, but Gardner's got some pace right now. 29.71 the last time across the stripe to Hanneman's 29.77. Definitely holding his own there with the 12. Now, I do want to warn everybody, you see the lap count says lap 46 of 127. That is a little advanced. We haven't started lap 46 until the leaders get back to the line, or maybe it's the other way around. Either way, the data not sending quite correctly here to the overlays as we have a battle for the lead again here. Gardner through the dogleg gets a nose alongside Hanneman. Now more so to the door as they roll into turn number 1. They're dead even.
Gardner not satisfied sitting behind the 12 much longer. He wants to get in that clean air and see if he can't run away.
Banging doors here, about the 10th position. They were 3 wide not long ago in a 4-car group now, trying to fight it out for these positions. Johnny DePasquale, Ken Lowry, Kerwin Marshall now back to the 11th position in the 4, just by a nose. The 21 of Brenton Watts to his inside. Oh, Watts gets into the back of Johnny D. Johnny hangs on to it. Oh, more contact, and he hangs on to it again. Man, I don't know what's going on there, but it seems like somebody's headhunting.
What a save right there in the Quado. That's not a place that you typically can save the car.
These guys have had their hands full, especially Johnny DePasquale in the last couple of laps. They're running like it's the last lap here at Charlotte, but we're not even halfway.
Blaney might have put someone in the wall just back there. Another Napa car.
Looks like the
The 15 of
367
Jared Smith.
Jim Treat, I think, is in the Napa car, but the caution is out again. 217 of Darren Jones with the 43 in the fence. This might have involved Darren as well.
Boy, something was about to break somewhere in the field. It was getting a little too hectic.
And ironically, it didn't happen where we thought it was about to happen.
Several times I thought it was happening too.
I believe this involved Darren Jones and the 43 of Tony Smith.
That right front's kind of caved in just a bit.
Again, ignore the timing tower as far as what caution we are on. This is our third yellow of the night. Ben Smith in the chat says, "Come on, Pops." Referring to Tony Smith. Tony was starting to work his way up through the field. Started 33rd. Even after this incident, he's shown 26th. As pit road's open again, we do have some takers.
A quick note on Tony's car. It's a good-looking car. I don't know if he meant to do that with the Blue Angel scheme on the U.S. Navy, but if so, bravo, sir.
Watts might beat Hanneman out. He will.
A couple of two-tire stops, it seems.
So through that, a lot of drivers opted to stay out on the racetrack, and I think that's going to be everybody in the top 8. Their last stop coming at lap 37. Looks like Nathaniel Ostrowski was lap 38. Everybody else on this cycle of this yellow flag, lap 51. Marshall went fuel only, so did Brenton Watts. Hanneman opted for 4 tires this time. I think his previous stop was rights only.
That's the case. That would mean I have two sets of tires, correct?
Yes, 2 sets over the wall.
Well, he's got left laying in the pits are a set of lefts.
It is Hanneman, though.
True.
Unless he just took longer fuel. I don't know for certain that he went with just rights. It just depends on how much fuel he dumped in that thing, maybe to add some rear end weight. And Colt, to answer your question, Ben Smith answering back, talking about his father there, says, yes, he's retired Navy. And Dustin Rogerson from ZeroX Media, he made the paint. He says, yes, it was meant that way. I made the scheme. Tony is a Navy vet.
Yes. All right.
Good catch.
Thank you for your service, good sir.
ZeroX goes. Dustin says, yeah, what Ben said. We just had to make sure everybody was aware.
It's another fun aspect to these tape delays. I think we had talked about it last time we did ZeroX, but just the fact that these guys get to come in here and watch the race. They know what's happening. We don't, and so they get to poke some fun at each other and play around and give us little hints as to what could be coming or what is not coming. So, but good to see these guys coming back and watching the show.
I know there was a handful of drivers that weren't real keen on the tape delay, and I certainly understand it. But at least from my perspective, I agree with you, Colt. I love the fact that these guys that were in this race will jump in here and make their comments and get their jabs in, and it's kind of fun. Pace car is in, green back in the air. Gardner and Hassard now back up front.
What this 27 car of Nick Gardner can do is it's the 12 of Hanneman under green trying to get that clean air. Now he's got it under the pit cycle. See what kind of pace he's got to make it there.
Oh, trouble off turn number 4. The 8 goes around. Mike Prachik sideways off turn 4 into the fence, and we are quickly under caution again.
Didn't see who all was involved, but it doesn't look like there was very many hard hits.
And looking at the fact that the 8 just rejoined and appeared out on the racetrack, may have had something to do with a connection issue. So what causes that? We've talked about it a bunch in the past. Really haven't mentioned it a much as of late, but if you lose connection for an extended period of time, not enough to get kicked out of this session, but all of a sudden you come back in and now you've landed on the space where somebody else already is occupying, you're pretty much guaranteed to cause a crash.
Yes, because iRacing only ghosts your car for so long. And so I'm not a programmer, but I do know that there is a way to fix that. I just wish they would, so that in the event that that happens, which we see it more often in official races than league races, but when that happens and someone spawns inside of your car, that neither one of you gets sent to the moon.
Speaking of getting sent to the moon, going back to the Blue Angels conversation with Tony Smith, Dustin saying he loves the Blue Angels, and yes, I mean, who doesn't? But at the same token, I think Tony Smith would rather keep that car on the ground. So working lap 55 right now behind the iRacing pace car. Nick Gardner's your leader. Hassard runs second. Ben Smith now up to P3. Derek Buckaloo marching forward now, back into the top 5. Fifth place is Nathaniel Ostrowski. He is up 8 positions. Big mover behind him, though. Jared Smith in the 15. He is up 24 positions. Started deep in this field in the 30th spot.
I believe he might be the one that the 22 of Jason Blaney stuffed in the wall a few laps ago. So doing a good job of keeping that car straight and working his way up to the front, but curious what his thoughts are on that, and next time he sees the 22, how he's going to react.
See if we can find out some Napa know-how from Jared Smith at some point. Field should get the one to go this time by. Following up on Jason Blaney, who runs back in the 13th position. 13th or 14th? No, 14th spot. Blake Hausschild will have 13th to the inside. I gotta say it so far, Colt, this has actually been a pretty good race. A lot of guys on different strategies. I mean, yes, it's the strategy series, but not every track will necessarily yield a great race when it comes to having the best strategy. But so far tonight, there's all kinds of different ideas up and down pit lane. Right sides, no sides, 4 tires, whatever it may be. We've seen a lot of comers and goers tonight, and frankly, as a race fan, that's what I'm looking for.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree. I was sitting here staring at our timing and scoring screen, just trying to figure out who was where and who pitted last, and I think Charlotte lends itself to this because while the race surface itself is very smooth due to the diamond grading, the track itself is very undulating. There's a lot of bumps in it, but they're not rough bumps. The surface itself is smooth, so it really does a number on the tires in a way that a lot of other tracks don't.
Green flag is back in the wind. Gardner and Smith now 1 and 2. Ben Smith in the second spot, fighting with Briley Hassard for the position. Gets clear off of turn number 2, and following him along through, Daniel Ostrowski, the 41. Not following anymore, goes to the top, trying to have a run off turn number 2. Or 4, that is.
Well, I believe that's Darren Buckaloo just stuffed his nose into turn 3, said, "Excuse me, coming through."
Hanneman just put his nose up the rear end of the 41 there into turn number 1, says, "I'm going up the top side here, give me some space." Oh, man.
Oh, boy, they thought about going 3 wide there for a minute, and Hanneman decided that discretion is the better part of valor.
Ooh, 41 slips up the track just a bit. Ostrowski almost catching the left rear of Ray Hanneman. Hanneman now clear off of 4 as Buckaloo scrapes the wall. Austin Walton in the chat says the 9 with some serious damage still. Walton involved in that early incident. Nose still bent up pretty good, but he's still making laps out here. Lap 61 up on the board. We're going to take an early break here for our side-by-side just before halfway at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Stay with us. We'll come back after this. Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back at Charlotte Motor Speedway, battle heating up between Blake Hochschild and Jason Blaney. Past halfway now here in the North Carolina 125. Gardner continues to lead Raymond Hanneman. It's a hell of a battle we got going on here between Hochschild and Blaney. Blaney been trying to work his way back through after getting a pit road penalty. These guys have been side by side pretty much since the restart.
22 get right up on the left rear at 17, just trying to drag that car back as much as possible to get an advantage going into the corner. He is not real happy sitting behind the 17. He wants to get by.
Blaney up, gets into the left rear, just turns him. Ah, Colt, I don't know if it was intentional, but I hate to say this. If it was beautifully done.
That was a, if you're not going to let me by, I will let myself by. Great job for Hochschild, though, not to hit anything.
So caution on the Speedway yet again here tonight. Now the 5th yellow of the evening. And I think we got to paint the Jason Blaney machine black and white and pop a light bar on the roof, 'cause that was a beautiful pit maneuver. Again, I don't know if there was intent there. I know Blaney's really trying to get through there. Frustrations may have got the better of him because he was side by side with Hochschild for quite some time.
Well, Steve, they were at a point where their tires were so hot, like I mentioned early on in the show, that the top line is going to start to be able to be defensible, and the bottom is not going to be that immediate just dive bomb and drive by someone lane. You're actually going to be able to defend the top, and the 17 of Hochschild just felt like that was his position to hold on to, and Blaney was, you know, he's been fighting his way up from the front, or from the back, excuse me, since that first pit stop after he, I would assume, got popped for speeding. So already a short fuse from being buried back in the pack, but like I mentioned earlier, it's one thing to be back in the chaos, but you don't want to be the chaos. And Blaney nearly was there.
Pit road open, and we've got takers. Gardner leads them down. A few stay out. Hanneman, Ben Smith, Wesley Jeanette, Derek Buckaloo, Jason Blaney, Jason Aranchak, Brandon Moore, Nathan Line, and I think Cody Austin as well. Everybody else has come down to pit. Quick stop for Gardner. Fuel only for the number 27 Napa machine.
Interesting decision there. That looks like this was that group that obviously would have stayed out at the last caution. But they've got some laps on their tires. I'm a little bit surprised at this stage of the race they didn't go ahead and take 4 unless they are banking on possibly a later caution.
Well, I think it answers my earlier statements about Ray Hanneman as to whether or not he took rights only or fuel only on that first pit stop. We assumed it was rights only at the time, but maybe it was just long fuel, as we see now Jason Blaney slow on the backstretch, maybe either taking blame for that incident or accepting it after being told he was. One way or another, it appears he's rolling to the back of the pack here. More on Hanneman, though. If that was the case, as we had suspected, he's got a set of tires sitting over the wall.
Yeah, all kinds of games being played all up and down pit road here. As now Jason Blaney is going to have to do all that work he has spent the past 60 or so laps, whatever the first caution was. He's got to start it all over again.
What does that do to a driver's frustration level?
Well, it depends on the driver. If you're asking me, there's a lot of not so nice words I can't say over the air. Coming, at least going through my head. A combination of if he knows he did it and knows he caused that issue, he's mad at himself for all that work that's been thrown away. If he doesn't think it was his fault and he thinks it was the 17, he's obviously angry that he's being sent to the back for that. But you know, it's gonna be some heightened levels of frustration no matter what, because now he knows, like I mentioned at the beginning of the race, if you're going to go to the back, early on is the time to do it. You do not want to be taking a penalty or getting sent to the back, you know, at this point in the race, this late in the race, because, I mean, we never know what can happen, but that window of getting back to the front is getting smaller and smaller.
Time will tell. And he's running out of time. And the aggression level will be higher than it once was. Pace car to pit road. And the Hanneman for President campaign begins again. Green flag back in the air. Hanneman and Jeanette get away, and Colt, that one sure looked like they timed it for sure. Oh, one going through, big time pace. I think that's Jason Aranchak in the number 84. I don't know what happened there, but the caution is back out. Somebody checked up. I missed it here on screen. I think we have an issue with the 5 or Ben Smith.
I believe the 11 spun his tires. Because Hanneman and Jeanette were shot out of a cannon, and it looked like the 11 just couldn't get going and tried to defend his position. They were 3 wide, and I believe it was the 81. No, Aranchak, sorry, said, you're not going to block that lane. Decided to force his way through. But I don't think that would have been the caution. Either car was really sideways.
I think it was the 5 of Scott Stockel. We just happened to miss it. Stockel shown now in the 27th position.
After the caution came out, though, the 11, don't know if it was intentional, but he kind of leaned down towards the 84 of Aranchak there.
Just remind me not to hit the live button. I want to look at this.
Keith, do not hit the live button. Oh, my goodness.
So Stockel's around here. This is behind the leaders coming to green, I believe. We'll back up a little further. Real time.
Oh.
Big checkup on the inside lane. So I think what you saw, Colt, was someone spun the tires. And now you get the accordion effect, and then these guys go around. Tony Smith, Kerwin Marshall, Scott Stockel around.
Well, it also looked like a combination of the 5 of Stockel was ready to go. And I believe that was the 43 of Tony Smith that he got into. And he was kind of leaning back, not really getting up in line, maybe quite as tight as Stockel thought he should. Because he hit him once or twice before they even got to the restart zone, and then hit him again. They got off center and hooked him.
Well, we're going to take a very short break and get caught up. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Back at Charlotte Motor Speedway on the 1 to go. Front row now will be Hanneman and Jeanette. We'll see if they time this restart again. I guess there was an incident also under the yellow still before we went back green. I can't go back and find that one just yet because I don't even have any data to go back and see it at this stage of the game. But either way, we're set for the restart here once again at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's Hanneman and Jeanette. Let's see if they time this one again. See Brandon Moore to the outside of the second row, too, of Fueled Up Motorsports, and he's got help behind him also.
Darren Buckley's got to be thinking they're everywhere.
Good jump for Hanneman. Timed well for Jeanette. Didn't look grossly obvious that time, but either way. Outside lane in the third row. Brandon Moore coming into the fray now. First, we've talked about the 3 much this evening. Chris Cornett now to the outside of Aranchak off turn number 2. He's got the run down the back, working that high lane yet again.
A little bit of door banging between the 81 of Buckaloo and Brandon Moore there down the back stretch. To keep it straight, though.
Hanneman with a comfortable lead, 3/10 back to Wesley Jeanette. We watch the battle just outside the top 10 here. Hochschild to the inside on Chris Pieria. This would be for 11th. Pieria way up the racetrack.
It's going to let the 367 of Jim Treat opens the door for him.
Dustin
Hochschild
Rogers
has to switch.
Dustin Rogerson in the chat making a very interesting point is that the leader does have lane choice on the restarts this season, but so far no one has opted to use the outside.
Interesting little tidbit to keep in mind there.
It's interesting because in the ZeroX Challenge Series we see it quite a bit where they'll take the outside or the inside depending on the preference, obviously, but we see it a lot of the time. Even in PSRA, guys do kind of opt for the top depending on the track.
I think a lot of it has to do with the size of the restart zone. The bigger the zone, the more time you have to utilize that secondary lane. If they run a smaller zone here in the ZeroX Strategy Series, it may not be worth it. Plus, at Charlotte, it's not really worth it unless you're on just really, really... Oh, contact into one.
Ben Smith's going to get caught up in it. Blaney up the racetrack, but it's going to take out Ben Smith. John Kelly's around in the 24. The 16 gets caught up in this also. Riley
Multiple hits
Hasser
for the 16.
Austin Walton says, I'm choosing the outside next time.
And Steve, I believe that 22 car was somewhere near the nucleus of this accident.
Yeah, I would specify, I think it was the right front. Only caught it out of the corner of my eye. We won't get anybody. We knew it was coming. We have this information ahead of time so that we can try and catch these cautions as they happen, since the replays become very interesting. I'll put it that way, if we try to do it that way when we're on the replays. It's the only downfall to doing the replays, at least I think. I have noted, Colt, that the connection issues have cleared up for most of the drivers here since those opening laps.
They have, for sure. Yeah, I haven't noticed near as many cars drop. Actually, I haven't noticed any cars dropping out in probably the last 40 laps or so.
Ben Smith in the chat. 2 weeks in a row, fast car and taken out.
I know the feeling, buddy.
Taking a look at the damage, it is pretty severe on the middle to right front. And you see the same thing, broken toe link on the 11. He'll come down and pit, as will some others.
I would say that's a great setup for a sprint car, but not for a next-gen stock car. Oh, the 81 missed his box.
Buckaloo's oh, just too early?
Somebody had a similar pit sign, apparently. He was driving to the wrong box. Who was that did? Was that Lewis? It was Lewis Hamilton, I believe, that did that. Pulled into the wrong pit box when he switched from McLaren to Mercedes and had his old crew guys yelling and cussing him out to leave.
Be better if they pit the car. So Jason Blaney involved in his second incident here tonight.
That frustration meter that I mentioned was going up is now pegged.
So cautions breed cautions. Do penalties breed penalties?
Absolutely. Without a doubt. Don't ask me how I know.
I mean, if you think about it, the pit road speeding penalty puts Blaney in the back of the pack. He gets involved in an incident trying to knife his way through. In that process, takes a guy out, has to go to the back again. And here we are with another incident. Now, I don't know if there's a penalty involved in this one or not. From what I can see, I'm not sure. We'll see where he ends up restarting this one. But I think that adds up.
Oh, for sure. And you know, like I talked about earlier, that first incident, that's on you. You have no one to be mad at but yourself. And it was early enough in the race that he seemed to stay calm for the most part. But, you know, after that first incident, it looked like maybe a little bit of frustration, a little bit of lack of patience, or running out of patience, I should say. But it almost appeared to me that this one wasn't even like an aggressive incident. It just kind of was a racing deal. I know we didn't get a great look at it, but I don't know that this was him, you know, trying to move someone out of the way. It was just him trying to work his way back through the field again. And that almost can make you even more angry when something isn't your fault after an incident that was your fault, because now you're like, I'm back here because of my own stupidity. Sorry, Jason, but for your own stupidity, and you get sent to the back. Now you're really mad.
Following up on Buckaloo missing his pit board. Dustin says, one thing about Derek is he makes awesome paint schemes, but always forgets to do the pit board. Race car in, green back in the air. Hanneman and Wesley Jeanette, Brandon Moore, Cornette, Nathan Line. The top 5 were back underway.
Ooh, 88 a little squirrely on that start.
Blaney mired back in the 20th position now in the tire tracks of Cody Austin.
He was in the middle of 3 wide just a second ago. Already trying to make his way forward.
Blaney with a big run on Austin, goes to the outside off turn number 2, has the run, he's there. Swaps over, crossover from the 22. There's the aggression and contact into turn number 3, and Austin goes up the racetrack. Caution is out, Stockel gets in. I think Tony Smith got a big piece of that as well.
After another incident not of his doing.
43 shortened up considerably.
Tony Smith might need to retire that airframe.
Hassard heavily damaged. Well, penalties breed penalties, and there's another one. Blaney gonna have to serve a drive-through for this.
It's about to say, strike 3. In baseball, you're out. I don't know what the penalties are here, but
you get a timeout, I guess.
And it just looked like an aggressive move into 3. Maybe he felt like he was owed just a little bit more room than what he actually had there, and car in front just, you know, turned in normal. Probably didn't even know he was there. Spotter probably said clear.
Yeah, Blaney did have a whale of a run. I mean, Blaney's got to shake his head a little bit at that one, but I don't think it's about intent. I think it's about fault when it comes to these incidents. So Blaney's going to have to take his medicine.
Well, Blaney at this point has been trying to save his race all race long, ever since that first penalty. At this point, he needs to take a deep breath, shake his head, and say, all right, this race is over for me. I need to get ready for next week, and I need to prep for the next race, and I need to go into that next race not having half the field angry at me. So,
speaking of next week, Texas Motor Speedway, not even next week. They're going to race it tomorrow night. We'll cover it here at Track Limits Network on Wednesday the 13th. Back to our normal time slot now that I'm back in town. Then on to Martinsville, Auto Club, the new Atlanta Motor Speedway, Kentucky, Michigan, then the All-Star race on the dirt at Bristol. In playoffs, it'll be Richmond, Las Vegas, Pocono, Chicagoland, Talladega, and Rockingham on August the 11th. So I believe this pass-through Colt is going to have to be served under green, because I don't think Blaney has done so, or has he?
I would imagine, because that's no different than an EOL than if he pits under caution. But what's interesting is he stayed out, and he's up in the 12th spot. It's almost like he's still trying to maintain track position to try to be as far up as he can be after this this pass-through.
It shows that he was down on pit lane at lap 83, which is just as the caution came out, but it also shows time in the pit box of 14 and change seconds, so he might have pit the car. Brian Gibbons, pay no attention to the timing tower. It says 13, but we're having some problems with the overlay. The number of cautions officially, we're up to 8. Still not great, but it's definitely not 13.
So it appears that Raymond Hanneman ducked down and might have got his last set of tires.
Hanneman will restart mid-pack on the inside as the front row will be Cornette and Gardner. Gardner's been quick all night, but man, Cornette fires right off at the end of that restart zone. Big jump. He waited.
Yeah, Cornette seems like he has been like a horse at the Kentucky Derby, just being held back all night long, even though he's been ripping the top most of the night. But he might have just let the reins go and see what kind of speed he's got. The 27 of Gardner, he's been really consistent and fast tonight, even through the field, flipping back and forth the way it has.
Ostrowski, though, closed the gap to Cornette, a car length and a half to the second position, the number 41. Up the racetrack now behind them, Moranchak and Gardner now side by side. Gardner on the bottom, the blue and white Napa machine. Battle for the race lead into turn number 3. Cornette to the top, but going to the bottom is Nathaniel Ostrowski, and he's got the lead off turn number 4.
Good move to take the lead there. It looks like Cornette wanted to take a look back to the inside.
These battles continue here into the top 10. An update on the penalty system starting, I believe, next week. Dustin telling us that committee will decide the penalties unless it's a clearly at fault or a clearly too aggressive moment. So most penalties will actually be handed out the week after, so the following race. Hornets nest of cars that Hanneman is in, now running in the 9th position. They're 3 wide ahead of him now off turn number 2. Pieria, Sisler, and Watts. Watts now settles in. Now it's side by side into turn number 3. Sisler to the bottom of the racetrack with Pieria up top. The top 3 now battling all for the top spot. Out of turn number 4 as Ostrowski gets away.
A little bit of contact mid-pack there. I believe that was Smith in the 15.
Might have been a Ranchak, too, because he's fallen back to 13th after that interlude.
So much going on in these last couple of laps here.
It's a great race. I know we've had some cautions, but the green flag action has been intense. Oh, and Hanneman's up the racetrack. Hangs onto it, straightens it out, but he's going to lose a ton of ground. Now to the 16th, the 17th position. Ray Hanneman's hopes of winning this race, quickly escaping an open window.
Steve, I caught it out of the corner of my eye as we were watching that battle, and I mean the 12th car was headed for the chicane. He was dead sideways there for a minute. That was an incredible save, but I don't know who got into him, but it looks like it might have been a blue and orange car.
Either way, no caution. That would be a teammate either way. I don't think they want to have that happen. Sisler, though, all over the back bumper of Chris Cornette. He had the second spot momentarily, but Cornette quick to battle back and take it away. Sisler now on the charge again to the inside, down the back stretch, all the way down to the blue line as he roll into turn number 3. Sisler still dead even with second place Cornette.
Cornette working that top lane like he has all night long, just hanging with him. But Sisler clips himself.
Crossover from Cornette. Now he gets to the bottom. The second place battle hot and heavy as Ostrowski's loving what's in his rear view mirror. Doesn't want those guys to get single file because he's next.
And Steve, they're not going to give each other much room from here on out the rest of the night. We're getting down to it. These guys are going to try to take every bit of space they can. If Sisler really wants to, he can get down on the door of the 88 and take the air off the right side of that car, pull him right around.
Want to take a look here at the lengths of stages, so to speak, the stints, if you will. Ostrowski, the race leader, he went 34 laps on a tank of fuel. That's his longest run. Sisler, however, he's been known to be good at saving fuel. He stretched it to 37. Cornette was 34. Gardner's 37. Jeanette, 37. So 37 seems to be the maximum distance. Now we look at Chris Cornette, for instance. He came down in pit at lap 71. I know we've had some cautions, but we still have 29 laps to go. Is there any possibility that Cornette's going to have to stop before this is over, or does he somehow manage to save enough with those caution flags? As Sisler's now our new leader.
Tight. Yeah, Sisler just blew the doors off the 41 there. I think the 41 of Ostrowski might have got his right front tire just a little bit too hot. But yeah, I don't know, Steve. The 88 has been so fast and all night long, and he doesn't seem to be slowing that pace down at all. I think he's either banking on yet another caution to shut the car off and try to save, or he's just going for it and hoping he can make it. Sometimes you just got to turn that information off, turn your overlays off, whatever information is telling you. I know I've done that in the past. Or if I'm short on fuel or close, I'll just shut it off and not even look at it. Or even my relative screen sometimes. If I'm leading and there's a car I know is tracking me down, I'll be looking at my mirror rather than at the windshield. So Leslie Jeanette took a look to the inside there, and you can see just how much the air is affected on these cars. Jeanette had a later turn in, had the car pointed, but as soon as he got to the gas, you could see the front end of that car just kind of jump out from underneath him, take off really tight behind the 88.
Jeanette all over that back bumper of Cornette. 25 to go, makes the move to the inside. Cornette way up the track. We'll see if he's got the run off exit. Doesn't matter though, Jeanette slams the door.
As I was just talking about not looking at your fuel screen, it almost seems like Cornette might have realized he was a little bit short.
Hey, might as well just get after it now. Cross your fingers for a yellow. I want to make a note here too, Colt. Matt Sisler, the race leader, he has made 8 pit stops tonight. Versus Jeanette, who's made 3. And the last time in for Sisler, it was fuel only.
Well, as we've talked about in the past, Steve, sometimes you just got to put fuel in it just to loosen that race car up. Kind of offsets your tires a little bit. If you are short on tires available to you, you might want to just weigh that rear end of the car down, loosen it up, and it'll drive a little bit better and offset your tire penalty until you can actually come in and take your right sides or 4 tires, depending on what your strategy is. Appears that's what Sisler's been doing all night long.
Does appear that Sisler running down the 22 of Jason Blaney, who's about to go a lap down. Blaney does have some right front damage on that Ford Mustang, but the question is, does he give trouble to Sisler knowing that his teammate is running in the second spot?
I was just thinking the same thing. Because he's been running the bottom the last couple laps, but he has moved up to the middle, as I believe that's where Sisler might have ran. And it doesn't appear that Sisler's gained any ground on him either.
$21 to go for Matt Sisler. Can he hold off Wesley Jeanette? Does he have enough fuel to make it to the end? Again, 37 laps was the furthest they went. That does not mean that's the max distance. That just very well could have been the longest run they had before they caught a yellow flag. But nevertheless, Still 21 laps to go. It'd be a hefty haul to the finish line.
It is possible, too, that Sisler might be saving fuel behind the 22. Using that dirty air to his advantage, drafting down the backstretch.
Well, it's allowed Jeanette to close the gap, though. He's right there. Sisler, the meat in the fueled-up sandwich right now with Blaney ahead of him as a next car to be a lap down. Sisler, your race leader, Wesley Jeanette in tow in the second spot. Then it's Cornette, Watts, Di Pasquale, the top 5. Coming to 18 to go.
Oh, the 22 is absolutely watching his mirror right now. You could see him kind of turn down the racetrack ever so slightly.
Watch the 74. He may have a run here.
Sisler's got to shut the door if he wants to protect this lead.
Still had the run, goes to the inside. Jeanette looking for the race lead, going to use his teammate as a pick into turn 3.
Oh, and Blaney blocks the outside lane.
Jeanette leads the lap. Sisler still on the right door of the 74 down into turn 1. Blaney still in the same lane as Matt Sisler. Sisler might just want to sacrifice it here, go to the inside and follow the 74 and see if he can make a deal and get through, not have to contend with the 22 of Blaney. Blaney's got every right to defend that lead lap position that he currently has. Correction, he's showing a lap down. So I digress.
Now, does he continue to block? I don't know how I feel about that.
If I'm the 31, I feel like dumping the guy.
Especially as many incidents as the 20. Yeah, that's most definitely arrow blocking. Sisler's got to be screaming on the radio right now.
I mean, he's not doing anything quote-unquote wrong, but, man, if I'm Sisler, I'm hot.
See, I'm of the opinion, like, if you're racing for the lead lap, you have every right to defend that, like we just mentioned. However, once you are down a lap, you have nothing to gain by racing that lead lap car, and he's racing him. I mean, look at, he's driving up the track here.
Yeah, he's mirror driving the 31 here.
If I know I picked Blaney to win the race, but if I am Sisler, Blaney would be taking the road course.
Unfortunately, Sisler's, I don't know, unfortunately or fortunately, he's not really the type of driver to do that. He's relatively calculating behind the wheel. I think if he understands the circumstances right now, even though he's probably furious behind the wheel, he's going to take the second place finish for what it is. You know, bag up those points and move on to next week. But I don't think he's going to be happy about it.
But I don't know if he backed off and is saving a little bit, or if he might have burned his right front tire off trying to hang with the 74, because he nearly got to that right rear and side drafted him back. But the 22 of Blaney was obviously, there and kind of blocked his progress. But I mean, he could be settling in right now, or he could just be struggling with pace. And like we talked about earlier, when you're a little bit frustrated, you're going to be pushing the car a little bit harder. Maybe not as focused, not in your flow state the way that you want to be, and tend to make a little bit more mistakes. And it might only be 100th or 1,000th a lap, but it does add up over time.
Well, he saw a small mistake there just about a half, three-quarter lap ago. Sisler scraped the wall, sent it down the dog leg a little bit too early of a turn in, but here he comes to pit road, so that answers that. Sisler going to need to come down and splash for fuel. He seemed really fast on entry there. I hope he didn't get dinged. He still seems like he's cruising, Cole.
I almost think he's in the wrong gear. But boy, if he wasn't speeding, that was the smoothest pit entry I've seen since Ryan Newman in that All-Star qualifying.
Nope.
And he parks.
He's done. Wow. All right, so he's a little hotter than I thought. Well,
and I don't blame him, to be 100% honest. Like you said, Blaney defended his position, as he has every right to. Now, had Blaney already been a lap down, I think he should have already given way. But after that, I think that might be a little excessive. Is it against the rules? Is it wrong in the racing handbook? No, but it's one of those respect things.
battle for second here. Johnny DePasquale all over the back bumper of Cornette. I think Cornette's in a similar situation of Matt Sisler in the fuel department, but he's still out there running. And yeah, Colt, I don't know, I kind of shake my head. I get that Sisler's probably frustrated, but to park it with 10 laps to go when you had a second or third place finish locked up, if this thing runs green to the end, that's just, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that either. I know we're awful opinionated here tonight, and I apologize for that, but we are also racers at heart. It's hard for us not to interject and go, man, I don't know about that.
Man, talk about someone we haven't talked about all night. Johnny DePasquale, up 17 spots in P2. I mean, we haven't said his name the entire night. Look at him. He's going to get the silver medal if things continue the way they are.
Newer tires starting to show for Johnny D. He pitted lap 88, took his final set. Chris Cornette, though, fuel only when he came down at lap 71. I don't know. Chris might still have the set. I think he was kind of gambling a bit here, hoping we'd catch a caution a little bit sooner than we have. Still no yellow yet.
Cornette is just throwing haymakers trying to hang on to his position with Brandon Moore and Raymond Hanneman. Talk about a recovery as well. Raymond Hanneman, he was dead sideways.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Restart.
He was back, I think, to 16th, and he's recovered now to 4th if he gets clear of his teammate. Now, Cornette's going to be up the racetrack, and I don't think that's intentional. I think he's just trying to hang on to that thing. He's going to lose the spot to Hanneman. Moore, though, unable to complete it, slams the door shut, does the 88 with 6 laps to go.
Yeah, Cornette is just hanging on for dear life. You can see the right front of that car is just not happy. It's not setting. As
wrong goes Cornette!
Oh!
And he straightens it out, locks it down. You know, I've seen this with Cornette a bunch of times when he's got in trouble and the caution is out. I think Cornette ran out of fuel.
He was awful slow in 1 and 2, and Brandon Moore was right up his rear end and was pushing him, but almost didn't look like he was, it didn't look like an angry push. Yeah, he can't get that car fired.
Now he's going to tow it to pit lane, out of gas.
Yeah, the 3 of Brandon Moore was shoving him through the corner, but I don't think that was a frustration push because the 88 had slammed the door on him in the front stretch. I think that was just 88 was all of a sudden slow at a part where you should be throttling up and had nowhere to go. And Steve, where would Matt Sisler be right now?
Exactly.
To be out of the way.
And I don't know if Matt had tires over the wall or not, but if you look at the number of drivers on the lead lap currently, there's not a ton. 13 to be exact, so 6th or 7th row, even if you have the worst pit stop of your life.
Well, even without pit stops, you just got another chance at life.
Cool them off at least. You know, even if you don't have tires, you've got an opportunity.
But, I mean, as much as we talked about Jason Blaney there, he's in the lucky dog spot. First car lap down. Now, is he in any danger of having another car go a lap down? I don't think so. I still don't think that entirely justifies how hard he was racing the 31, but, I mean, it does work out for him. He's back on the lead lap, has a chance to... speaking of another chance of life, he's got one here.
I mean, you got to look at the body of work for the night. Yes, he put it on pole. Yes, he had a very fast race car. He was almost untouchable in the lead in clean air. But once he got the pit penalty, things unraveled very quickly. It was not a good night for the 22. If you're in that position, you're a lap down. I get wanting to fight. But what's there to gain at that point?
Well, I'm going to bring up something from many, many years ago that our good friend Eric Dotson once said. And the only reason I remember it is because I still go back and watch that race, because he was talking about me. And he said, you can just replace my name with Jason Blaney. Sometimes Colt's biggest rival is himself. And I think Jason Blaney might be in that position tonight. Maybe not every night, but I think his biggest competition on the night has been himself.
I think we're all guilty of that sometimes.
Oh, 100%.
So on the one to go, Wesley Jeanette did a little bit of a feint to come to pit lane, trying to draw somebody to go down. It didn't work. But he'll still have the lead, so nobody's the wiser. Kerwin Marshall letting us know that Walton and himself saved tires for this green-white checkered. So watch the 9 and the 4. I don't know how badly damaged Walton still is in this case, but he's going to restart in the top 5. Marshall back in 11th.
Nick Gardner also just took a 14.5-second pit stop in the 27 car. I don't think that's enough time to get back to the front, but
Field going into 3 here on the 1 to go. He's got to get caught up.
Raymond Hanneman up to P3. Just clicked. I was sitting there staring at his race car, and it just clicked. Again, from being dead sideways, possibly off the bumper of the car in front of him. Now he's up to P3 with the green-white checker.
Bunch of fueled-up motorsports cars in the top 5 yet again. Green flag back in the air. Jeanette fires off. Johnny DePasquale was to the outside, but didn't fire off great. Might have slipped the tires just a hair. Now he's going to have to battle Raymond Hanneman for the spot as they roll down into turn number 1. Austin Walton in the 4th spot. Not able to gain too much ground now on these two as they still run side by side out of turn number 2. Coming to 2 laps to go. Actually coming to the white flag as long as the data's correct. Oh, leaning on each other off turn number 4. There it is, final lap.
Can they keep it straight? Oh, there's a wrecking.
Kerwin Marshall around with no caution. They took the white flag. Final lap. Jeanette out in front. The battle is on for the 2nd spot with Johnny DePasquale and Raymond Hanneman. They're going to fight it to the finish.
These two throwing haymakers into the final corner.
Wesley Jeanette uncontested off turn number 4. 14th to P1. He'll win the North Carolina 125. And to the line, Hanneman takes the 2nd spot from teammate Johnny D. It's a fueled up 1-2-3.
What a battle between those two there at the end. I know Wesley Jeanette's fought all night long to get the win, but man, those two were just swinging for the fence.
Say what you want about the fueled up motorsports guys. There is some talent there. Any one of them could pick up a victory any given night. And tonight, it's the 74 of Wesley Jeanette. We thought it would have been Jason Blaney for that matter. Johnny DePasquale had an opportunity late as he comes in and rubs the door of the 74. Wesley trying to save the motor for next week. 3rd gear burnouts.
Or is it? There he goes. He lights it up now.
So Wesley Jeanette, your race winner here, the ZeroX Strategy Series North Carolina 125 in honor of Dr. Ann Sudell Thorn. We had chaos, we had strategy, we had amazing racing. This was so far the race of the season for ZeroX.
Yeah, Steve, I would agree. There was a lot going on that I was struggling to keep up with, and I was sitting there trying to take notes of what was going on, and I just eventually gave up. There was just too much happening all at once. But, I mean, we saw short track tempers. We saw intermediate racing at its finest. That is the one thing that I say this next gen is actually pretty decent at. And as per usual, lots of strategy, lots of back and forth. I mean, we saw the field flip, what, 4 or 5 times?
Certainly did, and it looks like we do have a couple of drivers available for comment here. Usually we don't on these replays, but we gave that option to the drivers. If they're available, we'll chat with them. Ray Hanneman, your second place finisher, will have to go jump over into their Discord, and I will do that right now and pull Johnny DePasquale up into the broadcast booth. I'm sorry, Raymond Hanneman into the broadcast booth and get a word with our runner-up. Ray, it's Steve in the broadcast booth with Track Limits. You got a copy?
Got a copy.
Ray, congratulations, man. A second place run after some adversity, some laps led. Strong car tonight. A little bit of chaos. You lost some track position there late. Walk us through that save. We thought you were going to take the chicane.
I honestly thought Wesley was up more near the wall. I wasn't trying to clear myself, but I kind of played the Kyle Busch moment there, and I didn't want to door him, so I pulled down the track and got a little free on me, and luckily no one ran me over, and I had to use that last set, kind of just push through it, and hopefully it worked, and luckily it stayed with me, and I was able to recover pretty well tonight.
Certainly an impressive run. The car control you have in this Gen 7 car is unreal. Dustin said just as much in the stream chat tonight. What makes you so good in this car?
Honestly, it's just the practice that we put in, by myself, with the teammates, with everybody in the league. Laps really help out, and just, trying to put your car in situations where you could replicate in a race, right? So going into a corner too deep and having to brake for it, and then learning how the tires wear, and just seat time is honestly what I could say for everyone watching who is new to iRacing, as well, trying to get better on it as well.
Well, an impressive run certainly here tonight. Texas Motor Speedway, I want to say next week, but you're running that tomorrow night. We're going to broadcast it here at Track Limits on Wednesday. Another intermediate with a quad oval design. What are the odds you pick up the win there tomorrow evening?
With the fuel saving, we know Matt's list was pretty good, so definitely have a lot of work to do and making sure that we're good. Haven't done a lot of practice this week, just been busy with Mother's Day and everything going on there. So, just gonna put some practice in tonight with the team and run some extra laps by myself and see what I can do. Just make sure we're putting the car in good spots, getting that clean air, and hopefully have a better closure than last year, but be able to be there at the end.
All right, Raymond. Well, job well done here tonight. Looks like we've got all three of our top 3 drivers available for comment. But before we jump to the next, Ray, who do you want to thank before we let you go?
I got to thank you for broadcasting and everything like that. I got to thank all the teammates. Got to thank the girlfriend, mom. Happy Mother's Day. I got to thank all the fans that are watching and all the competitors out there. Without the great racing atmosphere, it wouldn't make it racing. It'd make it a chore, and it's more fun when it's racing. So appreciate everybody. Being friendly on and off the track and just having a great time with it, and all the fans for watching, and everyone that, puts in the hours to come out and watch the stream and letting us all participate and have fun together and stuff like that. It means a lot, and I know every driver appreciates it, but I can't thank them, everybody enough. I got to thank the sponsors. Was the last race with Eternal in the car, so I got to thank iStats, Eternal for one amazing career, so thank you to them. I got to thank Fueled Up. I don't have my car right in front of me right now, so I don't know what all the sponsors they had, but Admin Box and everyone like that, everyone that supports the car every single week. I appreciate everybody, and hopefully we're one spot better at Texas.
All right, Ray. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck tomorrow night. We'll maybe talk to you Wednesday.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Ray Hanneman, runner-up here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We're going to jump around a little bit. Johnny D was here first, so we're going to pull him up into the broadcast booth and get a word with our third-place finisher. We do have Wesley Jeanette, too. We'll talk to him here in a moment. But Johnny D, Steve, and Colt in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey. Yes, sir, Steve. I got you.
Johnny, congratulations. Started in the 19th spot here tonight. Terrible qualifying effort, but third place to wrap this one up here tonight. You had some real strong pace in the closing laps. What was the difference there at the end? Was it just a matter of a couple of more laps? You seemed to be really quick out of the gate of the last restart here.
Yeah, that last restart, I mean, Wesley just got such a good jump. It seemed like the inside lane would get such a jump, and I tried to time it so well. As good as I could, and I still was nowhere close. He got such a launch, and then there I was just trying to focus so much on Ray's right rear quarter panel. I was just trying to hug it as much as I could to not give him as much room as possible. But I know he's such a talented racer. I know that I can lean on his door and I can not give him as much room as I possibly could, and he can still hold it, and like, you know, we could have just an awesome battle to the end. That was such a fun battle. I feel like I would drive up to 5th, and then I'd go back to 19th, and then I'd drive back up to 3rd, and then I'd go back to 20th. I feel like I passed about 100 cars during that race, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to have speed, you know, and and the car worked loose instead of tight. It's so much fun when you can drive a loose car, you know, versus a tight car. So awesome setup, awesome race. It was a lot of fun.
Definitely a fun race. Probably, at least in my opinion, one of the best ZeroX races this season. I know we had a handful of cautions, but the racing was intense front to back, and you guys really put on a show. So looking forward to now tomorrow night. You guys run at Texas Motor Speedway. Another intermediate with a dog leg. Similar style racing may be expected. How different is Texas compared to Charlotte?
It's different. It seems you're off throttle so much more, especially in turn 1 and 2, and the car usually it works on the tight side as you run at Texas, and it seems like if you run it correctly, it actually works to the loose side, which, I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but it seems like you can put on a much better show with a loose race car versus a tight race car. And it seemed like when you could hit your mark, you could make it work, but you have to have the throttle discipline, especially in turn 3 and 4. You can usually attack it, but with this setup, you have to have some throttle discipline. So, yeah, I'm really hoping that we can kind of get in a groove and we can hopefully put on a great show. I mean, it's a lot of fun racing at Texas, so yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
Certainly looking forward to it. Johnny, before we kick you out of here, who do you want to thank?
Thank you, Steve, and everybody over at Track Limits Network. I know you've had a very busy weekend, and I know we were all messaging you about the broadcast, and it's awesome that you were able to come right home and you were able to put this up for us. So, and thank you, Colt, also. It's awesome to have you up there with Steve, so he's not up there lonely. All the boys over at Field Up, I'm surrounded with some great people, and I gotta bring my best every single week to try to, you know, be on the same level as them. And yeah, I absolutely love being a part of Field Up, and I'm really happy for Wesley. When that caution came out and he had the lead, I was like, man, I'm happy that I get a chance to get a win, but also I was kind of bummed for him because I knew he's had awesome speed this year, and I'm really happy for him. He was able to get that win. And all the sponsors, Factory FX, Action Sports Canopies, Admin Box, Clark Heating and Cooling, We Build Jacks. Awesome to have a new sponsor with We Build Jacks, and all the people that watch, my wife, my aunt, my grandma, my mom. I want to wish all the moms out there a happy Mother's Day, and yeah, really looking forward to the race tomorrow.
All right, Johnny, job well done again. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck in Texas.
Awesome. Thanks, Steve.
Johnny DePasquale, third place here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Next, we're going to talk to the winner of tonight's race, Wesley Jeanette. We'll see if we can pull Wesley up here and get a word with the driver of the number 74. Wesley, it's Stephen Colt in the booth. You got me? Wesley, it's Stephen Colt. You there?
I'm here. How you doing, buddy?
We're doing good, Wesley. Congratulations, man. 14th to the race win here at Charlotte. Didn't lead a ton of laps tonight, but you led the ones that mattered at the end. Crossing the line first to beat your teammates, Johnny DePasquale, Ray Hanneman for a fueled up 1-2-3. How do you feel?
Feels good, man. Coming off that last Charlotte race, I was in similar position, but wasn't able to get it done and have enough laps. So it kind of worked out the same way in this one. This time I had a little more time to get it done. So felt really good to finally get one. Honored to win against a lot of these guys in here. A lot of really good drivers. So this is one of the better ones I've had. So just excited to go try it again this week.
These 1.5-mile ovals seem to be right in your wheelhouse. We've got another one tomorrow night at Texas Motor Speedway. Can you make it 2 in a row?
I'm sure going to try, man. Normally 1.5 miles aren't I'm usually more of a short track road course kind of guy, but don't put a lot of work in on the 1.5 miles since I got back on the sim last season. So they're coming to me a little bit. So yeah, we'll see what we got.
It's all we can ask for. Wesley, congratulations again on the win here tonight. Sorry it took so long to get this broadcast done, but we finally got her done.
Yeah, no problem, man. I just got off the lawnmower, seen that the broadcast was up, so hopped on.
Well, thanks for jumping up here after the fact to chat with us. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
All my teammates that we practice every week, and they, help me out and help me get fast. I certainly wouldn't be able to win a race like that without their help. League, Dustin, all the guys in the league, you guys, and then all of our sponsors that help us. Had a new one on the car this week. We built Jack, so it's good to get them a win on the first race in the car. So,
all right, Wesley. Well, congratulations again on the win. Wish you the best of luck tomorrow night at Texas. And as we said to the other 2 competitors in the top 3, maybe we'll talk to you again on Wednesday night.
Well, I hope so.
All right, Wesley. Thanks for talking to us, man. Have a good night.
All right, man. Thanks.
Wesley Jeanette, race winner here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. That'll do it for the interview portion of the broadcast. Let's jump into our race results. Of course, we talked to Wesley Jeanette, Johnny DePasquale, Ray Hanneman, your top 3 finishers. Austin Walton was 4th. Nathan Line brings it home 5th. Derek Buckaloo, P6. Brenton Watts was 7th. Jim Treat was 8th. Darren Jones, 9th. Ken Lowry finishes 10th. Jason Blaney, there you go, Colt. Got back on a lead lap and almost got a top 10. Finishes 11th. Brandon Moore was 12th. Nick Gardner, 13th. Kerwin Marshall brought it home 14th. The last car on the lead lap with Trash House Racing. I love that team name. 15th was Nathaniel Ostrowski. Blake Hochschild was 16th. Jason Aranchak comes home in the 17th spot. Chris Pieria was 18th. 19th, Jared Smith. Juan Linares was 20th. 21st, Chris Cornett, after running out of fuel late with an opportunity to win. That one's going to sting. Briley Hassard fast early, finishes 22nd. Tommy Pulte was 23rd. Matt Sisler decided to park it late in the race and then got a late caution. Who knows what could have been for the 31. Cody Austin was 25th. Tony Smith, 26th. 27th was Scott Stockel. Ben Smith, 28th. John Kelly, 29th. 30th went to Mike Prachik. Michael Thorn was 31st. Trevor Queensbury out early, 32nd. Steve Tapley Sr., 33rd. Caden Fontenot, 34th. Jackson West, 35th. And Scott Ford Jr., I don't think he took the green flag tonight, but the majority of those drivers at the back of the pack involved in that early incident going to the shed very early this evening. Looking forward to better results next week at Texas. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us. A real quick hard out. I'm actually past the time I need to get out of here to jump into our next broadcast coming up. I think we go green at about 8:15 p.m., maybe a little bit sooner here at Track Limits Network, the 4Wide Motorsports Late Model Stock Tour. We're going to jump over to that here momentarily, but thank you guys all for tuning in. And again, thank you for the patience in waiting for this broadcast. We really tried to get that thing live Wednesday before I went down to the Glen. Didn't happen. Now it's done. We'll be back here Wednesday for Texas Motor Speedway. That'll do it for us. Colt, thanks for jumping up here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the stream chat. We'll see you in less than an hour. Have a good night.